right now. So that is shadow mask method. So earlier we have seen that the color that we want, what we have done in that beam penetration technique is we have painted that layer on the screen, the thing we want to display. We have done this thing in the beam penetration technique. So what we had done is we have painted this thing in the way we want to display anything on our computer screen. So basically, the basic fundamental is to paint the screen with that particular color. So over there we have used RGB, that is red, green, and something like that we have used. So basically, we were doing some kind of accelerating the beams, and we are trying to control the speed of the beams. So if we are able to control the speed of the beam by that complete procedure or by that fundamental, we'll be able to display that particular color. Though you have seen that the slow beam would be able to produce red color, and similarly, if we have some intermediate speed between slow and high speed, so that would be able to produce the color that we have with us, that can produce yellow color, or sometime it can produce the orange color as well. So basically this is the intermediate speed electron, and the high speed electron would be able to produce the green color. So based on the intensity of the beam, based on the speed of the beam, we can actually produce that particular color. But what if I want some other color instead of this four color? So in that for that purpose, what we have is this shadow mask technique. So over here, earlier we didn't have any particular electron gun for particular color, but now we have this thing. We have three separate things with us. That is, yeah, we have three separate electron guns that contains this kind of color thing, or that emits that particular color from the gun, that is RGB color. Okay, so we have now this particular three colors, and we already know this, that this three things is the necessary thing that we have, because if we have this primary colors, we will be able to make multiple colors out of this thing. The same fundamentals is used over here in the case of shadow masking technique. And basically we have these three things. The last thing that we have over here is the screen, and that screen is nothing but the thing that you want to produce, the image, the object, or something that you want to produce or that you want to show to the user. So basically this is one technique that uses this colored electron gun. Okay, so now what happened over here is we have one more unit over here in this shadow masking technique. Is we have shadow mask that is made up of, like, you can think of this thing that the manufacturer uses, the metal strip kind of thing is there, or a simple plastic strip is there that is having multiple holes in it. So what it try to do is it takes this beam out of the electron gun, and it will try to concentrate this beam out of the electron gun, and it will try to concentrate this beam onto the screen. So basically you can think of this technique like it takes the raster scan technique, and from the very first row, and starting from the left side of the screen, it will try to project something, or it will try to emit or try to display that thing at that particular point. So you can think of this position, okay, at the particular stage. What this shadow mask will do is it will try to concentrate that beam on that particular portion. So if it is the top left corner, then it will try to concentrate that beam to that particular corner. Okay, and at the same time it will try to create one rectangular one triangular form that is composed of these three color. Okay, so suppose the pixel information says that you have to display something at this particular pixel, so it will try to focus on this particular pixel with these three colors, and what it will do is it will try to adjust the intensity of these three colors, and once you have that particular intensity of each and every color, you'll be able to produce multiple colors that you already know, because it is the basic fundamental of coloring techniques. So if we have this kind of thing, if we have this triangular information with us that comes out of the electron gun, we'll be able to produce multiple colors in each and every pixels. Okay, this fundamental remains same over here. It will use the CRT fundamental, but we have separate electron gun that emits this particular colored thing out of the gun, and then we have shadow mask, and then we have this screen. Okay, and yeah, this dot is nothing but it is some respective color. If it want to show some kind of neon color or something, then it will do it with the help of the particular intensities of these three colors. So that is the basic fundamental of shadow masking technique. And what it says is magnified phosphor dot triangle. So triangle in the sense, if you zoom it like very closely, or if you want to see it in that way, then it will appear it like a, then it will appear to you is like a triangle. But in general, what appears to the user is nothing but a image, an image or some other object, and that's what the thing that will be shown to the user. But if you zoom each and every pixel or sub pixel, then it would appear to the user as a triangle. So that is what it says, magnified phosphor dot triangle. Okay, but at the end you are able to see an object. Okay, so that is the basic fundamental of shadow mask. What you have to remember is the limitations of beam penetration techniques were it was only able to produce 4 colors, but now if we want a multiple range of colors, then we have to use shadow mask techniques. Okay, so more range of color would be able to like produce with the help of this thing. And in the return or in while processing this thing, it is using the raster scan system. Okay, raster scan system and random scan system should be clear to you now. Okay, if I say random scan, then the thing must be clear in your mind that okay, sir, I want to say that it is not like that. It will not follow one particular procedure, but instead it can start at any coordinate or any pixel on your screen instead of going in a proper manner, that is from top to bottom and from left to right or something like that, in a particular row to row manner. Okay, so that is one difference between these two techniques. Another thing that we have is it has 3 phosphor colored dots. So if we say this 3 phosphor colored dots, so that would be able to produce range of different colors. Okay, and then if it wants to like create, if it want to create, or if we want to display illuminate one particular color, then what it will do is it will like nullify, or it will reduce the intensity of other 2 color, that is the green and blue color that we have in our system. And it will increase the intensity of that particular red color only at that particular point of time. So this is the intensity thing that we have. And one phosphor dot emits a red color, second green, and third one blue light. So based on that, we'll be able to like produce multiple range of colors. Okay, so what it says, it has 3 electron guns. That's what we have seen just right now, and a shadow mask grid as we have seen in the figure. Okay, so now the shadow mask will be having a series of hole that would be like helpful to concentrate on a particular part of a screen, and that would help the shadow mask or the CRT monitor or the electron gun to concentrate on a particular pixel. Okay, so that's why we need this shadow mask thing in our shadow masking technique or in the CRT. Okay, so once it passed through a hole, it will like activate a dot triangle that contains these 3 colors, and we can see, depending on the amount of excitation of red, green, and blue phosphor, we'll be able to see different colors. A white area is a result of all 3 dots with equal intensity, while yellow is produced with green and red dot, and so on. So basically, if you want different range of color, you have to set likewise intensity. Okay, so that is the basic fundamental of doing this thing in shadow masking technique. So that is the very like a simple thing that you need to follow. Now one more thing we have is direct view storage tube thing. Now DVST thing. Now this is one technique which has one kind of storage grid and collector in it. Okay, well, while the remaining thing remains same as it was in the CRT monitor. So now over here we have multiple units. See, basic thing that you need to know, and you need to note in your notebook or in your laptop, is the thing that we have is the very first unit that we have is the flood gun or the electron gun, or simply the primary unit that we have that contains this kind of thing. So once it gets charged, it will like it will start emitting the electrons in like in any direction. It will not go in a particular direction or something, but it will start emitting electron in multiple direction. Okay, that is the very first thing that we have. And then we have deflection system. As I told you, that deflection system will help you to help your electrons to move in a particular direction, whether it is vertical or horizontal or some other direction. So that is needed because the electron don't know in which direction they have to move, or they don't have that particular information with them, because you know that they are just negatively charged thing and they don't have that kind of knowledge with them. Okay, so that's why we need this reflection system, and then it will like bombard the screen with the multiple electrons, that is negatively charged electrons. Okay, So now what's the difference between CRT and DVST? So basically what it says is we have two things over here, that is the storage grid as well as the collector. So now basic information that you need to know is the storage grid will contain the information about the picture or information about the thing that you want to display on the screen. So if you have one circle on the screen, or if you want to display a circle, so the circle information would be stored in the storage grid. The collector would, what it will do is it will collect all the electron that has not been used by the storage grid for the display purpose. Okay, so this is the basic information that we need. Now what is the need of the storage grid? So the information about the object, about the image will be stored in the storage grid. So what it will do is the deflection system or the focusing system will bombard the electron. It will just free flow the electrons onto the collector or onto the storage grid. So it looks like something. See, you have one shape with you. Okay, you have one circle shape with you, and what you do is you have one more thing, that is a floor or some kind of white color with you. Okay, so what you do is you try to spray a white color on that particular image, or on that particular image that you have. Suppose you have circle, you try to spray that white color on that. So what will happen is whenever you try to draw something on a floor or some kind of desk you have, so it will take that particular form, that is the circle form, and the remaining thing would be it won't get sprayed on that particular platform or on that surface, because the thing that you spray with your hand or with your object or something, it will take this thing. That is, if you have one paper kind of thing with you, so suppose it is circle shaped paper with you. Okay, so whenever you spray that white color on that particular surface, it won't get into the onto the floor, and the remaining information will be there. So whatever shape will be there, it will be stored into the storage grid, and the remaining information would be stored onto the screen. Okay, so if I say we have one circle shaped over here, the remaining screen would be simply the electrons would go there and it will illuminate the remaining screen. But the only thing that won't be illuminated is the circle shape, because that is the thing that you want it onto the screen. Okay, so that is the basic fundamental of the storage grid, and the collector would collect all the remaining things that is not required by the screen, or that has been collected while processing the circle. Okay, so only circle thing won't get that electron, else remaining screen will be illuminated by the electron. So that is the basic fundamental of DVST. Now you'll say that why, sir, why we need this thing if we have CRT monitors and we have this many techniques? So the basic purpose of using this thing is to store the, or the basic purpose why we need is this DVST is to save the energy as well as save the refresh rate, because you know this thing that in CRT monitor you have to refresh the screen after each and every second, or after each and every minute, or after some particular point of particular time. So basically that thing is not needed in this DVST display because of refresh rate and all. You sometime if you know this CRT monitors and all, we have one flickering problem of the screen. This happens because of the problem of refresh rate. If we don't have proper refresh rate, we won't be able to see the image or see the scenario properly, and that is the major problem of doing this thing. So to eliminate this refresh rate thing, and to eliminate the power voltage problem and all, what we are doing is we are directly storing this thing into the storage grid, so we don't have to refresh this thing each and every time. So but obviously that would be useful to us. Okay, so it stores the picture information behind the phosphorus coated screen. So over here it will store the particular information. It uses two guns. One is the flood gun and another is the primary gun. Okay, so basically flood gun and primary gun, basically the purpose of these guns are nothing but to store the to maintain the flow of the electron, as well as to maintain the thing that is to be displayed. So what it says is the flood gun maintains the picture display, and primary gun is to store the picture pattern. Okay, so two things that we have, it will be useful to us to display any picture. Then what it says is it can display high resolution picture without flickering compared to the CRT. As I told you, it doesn't need to refresh the image every second or every minute. So but obviously it will be generating a high resolution picture as compared to the previous one. Another thing that we have is Yeah, as compared to the CRT monitor, so this could be the useful thing to you. Disadvantage is that it can't display colors and cannot remove specific portion of picture. As I told you, if you have predefined circle or predefined thing into your storage grid, then it will like give you high resolution thing. But what if you don't have that particular thing? If you have a scenario that is having some detailed kind of trees or some kind of animals in a particular background, then it won't be able to display that kind of detailed thing. Okay, so that is the disadvantage of this kind of device. And what it says, it can't display colors. Yeah, there's one problem with the ESVT displays, but nowadays this has been eliminated. Now it is able to produce the colors also because of the technology advancement. Okay, and then now we have one more thing, that is the flat panel display. Flat panel displays, what it says is a class of device which has reduced volumes, weights, and power requirement compared to the CRT. As we know, this is a very trending thing as of now. Also, as per the trend, we are using this thing: LED panel, plasma panel, LCD panels, and all. So basically, earlier in the earlier days, we were not having this kind of technology because we were not able to illuminate this thing. We have to use this electron gun, and then we had to use this kind of opaque, like crystal opaque thing that you had in the CRT. So we need that kind of space also to display something to be that accurately. But nowadays what we are doing is we are using this glass panels, we are using this crystal displays, we are using this kind of gaseous form that would be able to illuminate the object or illuminate an image. So that is the basic fundamental. So we'll see this thing, each and everything in detail also, how it is reducing the volume as well as weight and power requirement. Okay, so now we have two categories in the flat panel display. First thing that we have is the emissive devices, and another thing that we have is the non-emissive devices. Okay, so now emissive devices, we have two categories in this, that is plasma panels and LED. So first category uses the electric energy to convert into the light energy. At the end, what we need is the light energy to display things properly. And then the next thing that we have is the non-emissive devices, that is LCD. So we had that generation in which the LCD devices were very popular because of its cost, because of its resolution. Okay, and viewing dimensions also were helpful to you. So what it says is converts light from other sources into the graphic pattern using optical effects. So now instead of using this electric energy directly and converting this thing into the light energy or something, what we are doing is we are taking this light source, we are taking light from some other source that we have. We can have bulb, we can have like something installed in our machine, something installed in our panel, and then we can use this light source to create a graphical pattern. Okay, so we'll see how, what is the basic fundamental of doing this thing. Okay, to create the optical effect, to create an illusion. So what it says is we have this thing, plasma panels, LED, LCD. So basic fundamental of doing this thing is to reduce the size of the monitor or size of the display devices. Okay, so what it says is its another name is gas discharge display. So now over here, what we are, the basic fundamental of doing this thing is to use the gas instead of using any hardcore metal, or instead of using some thing that we have earlier. Okay, something we had earlier. So basically what it says is we have two glass plates that is installed in the front as well as in the rear. Okay, the front glass plate would be like installed with the vertical electrodes. Similarly, the rear glass plate would be having the horizontal electrodes. Now what you say that, okay, what is this electrodes, that you already know, it is definitely going to like create a charge kind of thing, and it is going to emit electrons. Okay, so now basic purpose of doing this thing, creating horizontal and vertical electrode. And what is the basic purpose of doing this thing? So basically horizontal and vertical electrode would make up a grid. Okay, in this manner. So what it will do is we have this thing, electrodes, that would get like, it will get charged and it will start emitting the electrons, and in between we have one neon glass panel. Okay, a neon gas panel. So that will be having some cells. So cell, you can think of this cell as a pixel, or as a particular thing that could like produce something, it can illuminate something, or it can create some color, or it can render something. Okay, so that is the basic purpose of neon gas panel cells, so that will be able to illuminate something. So what it says is we have something that is a vertical electrode and a horizontal electron. So what we'll be doing is we'll be giving some kind of charge that range from 90 volt to 120 volt. So upon charging up, what it will do is it will go at that particular position, and the back side electrode also get charged up, and it will start showing the information. So one grid kind of thing will be created in the center. Okay, so in the center, if we want some particular information at that particular pixel, suppose we have one grid of, like you can say 16 cross 16, so we'll be having that many pixels in our grid. Okay, so now each and every pixels will have this thing, and what we'll do is we'll try to charge it up with some voltage. Okay, once it gets like charged up, what it will do is it will illuminate the neon gas panel. And once we get this information, once we get this particular charged up gas panel, or you can say the cells, so it will illuminate that particular color, or it will get illuminated with simple white color. Okay, so over here that's the basic fundamental of doing this thing. So instead of sending some electrons from X position to Y position and doing that so many things in between, what we'll be doing is we'll be installing this thing in our plasma panel. So this is just a part of a panel, this is just a part of a unit, a single unit. It can be very big, it can be very huge, that can contain so many of such units. It's not like that कि ये ही एक पूरा diagram है. It can be like you can have more than thousands or more than 2000s of such thing installed in your LCDs. So once it will do this thing. Once it get processed, it will try to like illuminate the particular pixel in the neon form. So basically neon, you already know that it would be like creating some kind of color that is very that is very catchy. Okay, so it will try to like produce this kind of colors, or try to illuminate the object with this kind of thing. Okay, now you'll say that, okay sir, what is the advantage of doing this thing? So basic advantage is that only that we don't need that kind of structure now as compared to the earlier one. We just have two thin, these are very thin. In practical purpose or in practical usage, we have this very thin glass plates that is having this electrodes. Now this electrode can be anything, gold, silver, some metal, some another metals that can take up the charge. Okay, and similarly the rear panel would be the same thing, that will contain this kind of electrodes. So you can think of this thing like, okay, these are the things that we have, and these are very thin, okay, in size. So a complete panel would be containing this thing, and in between neon gas panel. So now you'll say that how we would be able to say that this particular pixel would be like illuminated, or this particular part of the picture will be like displayed. So that is based on the information that we have in the grid. Okay, because we have vertical and horizontal electrodes, so we will be having one information. Suppose we want to display a circle, so in that particular pixels, the circle, if the circle is having some more than 300 coordinates, or the pixels that contains this information, that it is to be displayed in that particular manner. So now this grid would illuminate that particular pixel in that particular position, and that neon gas panel will simply illuminate that particular pixel, and that thing will be displayed on this front glass panel, and this glass panel will be visible to the user. See, the information will be visible over here, not here, over here. So the thing that will get illuminated will be displayed over here. Now so many technologies, so many manufacturers have added color thing also. So colors can easily be added. Once we have this thing, we can use like RGB thing in our panels. So once we have this thing, once we are okay with this thing, then we can go with the color panel. So and the similar colors can be illuminated at a particular grid position. Okay, so that is the basic fundamental of this plasma panel. And see, basic thing is like you must be getting confused कि sir हमको ये सब पढ़ना होगा कि what is this display or what is this monitor thing. See, these are just the introductory thing that you need to know before going to the computer graphics subject, because directly we can't be going to the algorithms, and also you'll be saying that, okay sir, we know how to make a line and all, but we need to learn the basic fundamentals of the computer graphics. That's why we are learning all of these things. Okay, don't worry, don't get worried about this thing कि sir ये तो सब अभी school में भी आता था and all. It is fine if you have learned this thing, or if you know this thing, it is completely fine. But because of the introductory part, we need to learn each and every of the basic fundamentals of the computer graphics. Yeah, in the lab we won't be dealing with this thing. We don't have this thing. ये lab में हम लोग ये सब practicals नहीं करने वाले based on the display or based on the LCD and all. What we have to learn or what we are going to study in the lab is basic graphic function. Okay, that would be able to make a circle, or you can use it to make a triangle or moving car and all. So I have uploaded few files on your Moodle, and that shows you how to create or how to install a graphic function in your Linux system, and then how you can go ahead with the programming part to display something. So basically in the lab also I will show you how to like create a line and how you will be able to move a line. Okay, once you'll be able to make out of it, get, okay sir, we know that how to move a line. So after that you can easily create a car out of that thing or some other object. So that is your practical number one that we are going to see in the lab. Okay, so we'll continue with this thing. See, these are the introductory part, and we have we have two more lectures for the introductory part, and once we are done with this thing, we'll completely go to the graphic primitives part in the computer graphics. Okay, see, at any point if you have any doubt, sir, we are not getting the purpose, we are not getting any idea about this thing, then we can clear it out, and that is not a problem. So these things are very simple. So what it says is the horizontal and vertical plates can be made up of conductor materials, but obviously they are electrons, so they need to be charged up with some good conducting material. Okay, so like mixtures can be used, like alloys, something, or some kind of gold, silver can be used, but it depends. It all depends on the manufacturer. Okay, now here we are using neon glass panels, but obviously neon comes, if neon is a word, then the very first thing comes into your mind is a glowing kind of thing, or something that is very catchy to your eye. So basically that's why we are using this neon gas panel to make it to make it very pleasant to the user. So that's why we are using neon gas panel. When the power is supplied to both horizontal and vertical conductor plates, it would create a grid. Okay, it also uses repressed buffer to store picture definition. Okay, so at the end, if we want some information to be displayed, we need this kind of buffer storage with us. Okay, it can refresh the screen 60 frames per second, so that is very good thing if we are talking about the plasma display when the firing voltage is applied. Okay, so what it says, previously it was strictly monochromatic display device. Now it can display colored and gray scale pictures. Also, as I told you that now now the world is evolving. Now the technology is evolving each and every day. So these things are getting embedded into the display. So now one more thing is that we know that this thing is not getting used nowadays. Why? Because of the size of the display, because of the weight of the display as compared to the LED devices. But obviously, as I told you, that it is using two glass plates. So if the glass comes into the picture, then it is definitely going to increase the weight of that particular display. So that's why we don't need this thing nowadays, because we have the LED part. Okay, then one more thing that you see in the buses and all, that is thin film transistor display, or you can say thin film electroluminescent display. Okay, so what it do is it uses the same fundamental of using front and rear glass plate with some conductors, but now in between, instead of the neon glass, what we are using the zinc sulfide doped with manganese. Okay, why we are using this thing? Basically, we want to eliminate the cost of the previous one. Basically, we want to reduce the power of the previous display. That's why we are going with this manganese thing. Okay, so what it says is when power is supplied to both the plates, phosphor become the conductor at the intersection point of two electrodes, but obviously we'll be creating one grid that is having some kind of information with it. And what it says is this electric energy is absorbed by manganese, which generates light to generate pixel definition. So over here, instead of the neon gas panel, we are using the manganese panel, which would generate light, okay, to display something to the user. Okay, see, now you have to visualize this thing. See, this thing is not possible, we won't be able to see this thing, something related to very straightforward thing or something, but you need to visualize this thing, that how this thing would be like illuminating an object, or some image or some other thing that you want to display. Okay, so basically these are the materials that the manufacturer uses. Okay, and then one very basic thing that you have is the LED. Okay, LEDs. So basically we have one grid over here, or it is like we have a complete structure of diode with us that is arranged to form a pixel position on display. Okay, so you can see we have this thing in row form, or in the matrix form, or in the grid form. We have multiple LEDs located in our display, and what it says, when the voltage is applied, the electrode get charged up and it reads the picture information from the refresh buffer, and it will try to display that particular information. Okay, so basically why we basically we are using this LED display like nowadays in so many things in the buses and all, and we see this thing in the buses, it is giving you a jagged appearance, because see, over here we have one thing, that is the jagged appearance. Okay, so now this jagged appearance is not at all applicable, or it is not at all acceptable by the people, because it won't look good. But if it is like something scoreboard or something, then that is fine. But if you are like watching some movies and all, then you need something to be very precise and to be very good. So that's why in that, in modern days monitors or something, we are not using this kind of LEDs. Instead, what we are doing is we are we have eliminated this thing with so many pixels. A single a diode would be like, again it will be containing multiple information, or containing multiple diodes in itself. So basically, to eliminate this jagged information, to the jagged appearance. Okay, so this is the basic fundamental. We don't have any rocket science in this thing, that okay, this thing would be charged up, or we have this electrodes with us. Simple thing that we have is the diode, or the light emitting device that we have, that generates this information, that generates the light, and according to the thing that is to be displayed. Okay, so that is LEDs. And then we have one very important thing with us, that is the liquid crystal display, that is the LCD. Okay, so many of you have seen this LCDs, or many of you might be having this LCD display monitored or something with you. So basically what it uses is, we have to keep 4 to 5 things in your mind. Okay, so basically you have to keep, first thing you have to note down is the polarizer. What is the polarizer thing? So whenever we talk about the light sources, whenever we talk about the display, the basic thing comes into the mind is the light source. Okay, so now we have one thing over here, that is the polarizer. So we have two polarizers installed in our LCD display, one at the front and another at the back side. Okay, so now the polarizer, what the polarizer will do is, it will only keep the information that is relevant to you, that you need, and that you only want to give it to the display. Okay, so basically it tries to mimics the concentrating part. So basically we have sun rays with us. Okay, so what the sun rays it goes in a distributed manner. We don't have that particular thing that is coming out of from the sun and it goes at a particular direction. We have dispersed rays all over the world, or all over on the planet Earth. Okay, so it is not concentrating on a particular point, or on a particular plane, or particular region. So basically what we are doing is, we are doing this thing, we are also using the same concept in the solar panel, or some other device that operates on the solar light or something. What we are doing is, we are trying to use the polarizer to take this rays, take this light from the external source, and it will try to concentrate this ray, or it will try to concentrate this particular light on in a single direction. So what it do is, polarizer would take the light, and it will try to concentrate this light on a particular region, or on a particular plane. So over here, for our purpose, LCD would do is, it will like it will concentrate, or it will try to throw a light on a particular plane that is needed to be displayed to the user, and it will take this light and make it to fall on a particular plane. So that is the basic thing that we have, that is polarizer. What it will do is, it will only take the important information while eliminating the remaining thing, and it will incident this light onto the viewer side, or onto the opposite plate, polarizer. Okay, so now in between you are able to see one thing, that is liquid crystal. Now what is this liquid crystal? Now you might have been using this thing that is solid, liquid and gas form. The purpose of solid thing that we already have seen in the CRT monitor, we are using some sort of like solid devices that we have with us. And then we have seen this thing gas form though. So in our plasma panel we have used the gas panel with which we were able to illuminate for our use. Now we have one more thing, that is the liquid thing. Now liquid, and now based on the fundamental, you'd be able to say that okay, yes sir, the liquid would be able to take multiple forms as per our requirement, as per our usage. But now we have a combination of liquid and crystals. So now what we want is, we want our light to take this form. Suppose the light is coming from a XYZ direction, and if it is not straight, or it is coming from multiple direction, and if it is getting like stretch at certain point, so in between we have one nematic liquid crystals that would take this light form that is coming from the source, and it will like carry this light, and it will like make it, or it will like contain this information. It is kind of carrying kind of thing. It will carry this light, and it will throw this light onto the opposite side, or onto the destination side. So basically it will take the basic form of the light. So as you can see in the very first stage, what you have is the nematic liquid crystals that are taking the form of a light. And if it is able to take a particular form, if it is able to take a particular like shape, then it will be able to illuminate the light on the viewer's side. Okay, so that is the very first thing that we have. And then in the second stage, that shows us the off state. So off state is nothing but, what it will do is, the nematic crystal display will simply be blocking the light. Okay, so once we are able to like successfully block the light, so that particular pixel would not be able to display something, or it will be simply blank, or it won't be giving you any information. So if we have this fundamental, one is the on state that is showing you some information, and another thing is the off state that is not at all showing you anything. So if we are able to make out something like this, and we are able to install this thing in our LCD display, so simply what we will be able to do is, we'll be able to like display some sort of image, some sort of movie, or some sort of object on our, we'll be able to display some sort of like this thing on our display. So we have one thing over here that I'll show you. I have one video link with me. So we'll see if it is visible to you. So you'll be able to get it. So you'll be able to see video. So this is the light. The nematic crystals will take the shape of the light. So now your lights will be blocked by these crystals. Okay. So as I told you, multiple pixels would contain this thing, and you'll be able to eliminate a part of an object or a particular thing that you want to display, and remaining thing would stay, or it can be shut off. Okay. Now comes is the RGB thing in your in your LCD. You can see this thing. This is just a part. In return or in turn, it is containing so many things. So that would make your like movie or your object to be very precise or to be very of like high resolution. So I hope now you are able to see the PPT again. Okay. So now the next thing that we have is the three-dimensional viewing devices. Okay. So now basically what it says is three-dimensional viewing devices. So what you generally see in the movies or in the theater is basically based on your eyes position, you are able to see the depth of an image or of a movie. Okay. So basically that is a fundamental of creating an illusion to your eyes. It is not at all 3D in general or in particular, but what you are able to see is based on the viewing direction, they are creating an illusion so that you will be able to see the depth of the image or something like that. Okay, so now over here we have one thing that is given in your Hanen Baker. So what it says is we have timing and control system. We have one CRT monitors. This is a very old thing that we have with us. Okay, we have one like mirror that will reflect the image from the CRT monitor, and that would vibrate based on the perception of the viewer. So we have one viewer over here. This is the viewer's direction, and the viewer will be able to see the projected 3D image. So what it will do is it will try to change the focal length of the thing of the object that you are seeing. So basically if you see or if you know that okay, the larger the focal length you have, the the image would be able, like the depth of the image will like change based on the focal length of that particular image. So you need to know the concept of this larger and shorter focal length. So if you have this thing, then you'll be able to see the depth of the image. So basically this vibrating flexible mirror will change the perception of the projected 3D image by changing the focal length. Okay, so based on your perception, based on the viewer's direction, it will change this change this focal length, and you'll be able to see the depth of the image. It could be like nearer to you, or it could be like far from your direction, and you will be able to see the things based on this fundamental. Okay, this is nothing but the reflection that is coming out of the CRT monitors, and the projected image would be visible to you. um, yeah, so that is the basic fundamental of 3D devices. We won't be going in much detail because it is not relevant to us. Whenever we'll study the OpenGL library, at that time we'll try to create 3D objects. We'll try to create shadows. We'll try to use some models that could create a shadow, and we'll be able to render a realistic image, or we'll try to create realistic images out of that OpenGL library. But first 2 months we'll be using the graphic function. 2 or 3 months we'll be switching to the OpenGL function. Okay, so what, as I told you, it doesn't produce 3D image, but it provides such effect to your eyes so that image appears to have depth because of this focal length thing. Okay, two views are generated from a viewing direction of each eye. Each eye perceives something different, and together it makes out a 3D image. These both views are merged to generate a single image. It appears to have a depth. So that is the basic fundamental of using this 3D and virtual reality thing. So, but obviously you must be knowing that okay, in the virtual reality classes or virtual reality device, you have this two big glasses that is like concave or convex kind of, they are shaped like that, and you are able to perceive that thing, you are able to see the depth of an image based on that glasses only, and based on this thing you are able to make out something that is that you say is the 3D thing. Okay, so stereoscopic viewing is used if in this user can step into the scene and interact with the environment. So again, we have one more term over here that is stereoscopic. And what it says is you are like dealing with something with the scenario or with the scenery, and you are trying to interact with it. Uh, Now, one more thing that we have is the graphics software. So we'll see this thing graphics software, and uh, okay, we'll see this thing, and then from the software standards we'll just stop the today's talk, so that you get an idea what you have to do in the today's lab. Okay, so what it says is they are classified as two things, that is general programming package and another thing is special purpose application package. As I told you in the very first lecture also, we have a range of tools in which you draw a line, draw a circle. Many of you must say that okay, must be saying that okay sir, we can draw line, this is the reason why we need to program and like program this thing, because you are an engineer, you have to learn all of these things. Okay, very first thing that you have is the graphic language provide tools to draw a line, circle, etc., and apply transformation on this object. What if I say you have a triangle and you have to rotate it, or if you have to transform it? Okay, then you'll say that okay, for this purpose I have to increase the pixel or I have to reduce the pixel, but how you can do this thing? So that's what we have to learn in this subject, and it is used in higher level language like C, Fortran, etc. So the very first thing that we have will be using the same thing in the C language. So you don't have to learn a different technology for your like CG purpose. You just have to be good in the C programming language. Okay. And the second thing that we have is the special purpose application packages. It is designed for non-programmer, that is for the general public. General people will use this kind of software. So what it says, it is used in painting program. Paint is there. Then we have CAD camps and graphic routine, Maxma, and so many things that doesn't require your programming knowledge, and also we won't be going in that portion of the subject. Okay. So coordinate system. What is this coordinate system? So if I say that you have to draw a line, so what's the first thing that come in your mind? You can say, or you can like interact with me in the comment in the chat box also. Okay. So if I ask you what is the very basic thing that is needed if I say that you have to draw a line on your computer monitor. Okay, so you'll say that okay sir, we need something known as pixel, but pixel is fine, but then too you need some kind of pixel position, or you can say the coordinate position, the coordinates for that particular image or for that particular object. So if I say this thing is needed, then you need is the coordinate representation. Okay, if I say you have one MacBook, and if I say I have some small laptop with me, and you will say that sir, the coordinate would change, but obviously the coordinate is going to change based on the monitor dimension, based on the monitor that you have, based on the things that you have with you. Yeah, coordinates, definitely. So coordinates is very much needed for your programming tasks. If I say you have to like draw a triangle in your like C programming language, and then at the same time I'll say that I want your triangle to move from left, from X to Y direction, or from source to destination, or from some random position. Then you say that okay sir, then तो मुझे कैसे पता चलेगा कि मुझे कहाँ से start करना है? So that is needed, that knowledge is needed like to start or to begin with. So that is what you have to make out of it. Okay, in the lab we'll see this thing also, and what it says is in general we have this XY coordinates, and yeah, but obviously if we are dealing with the like 2D part, then we need is XY coordinates. If we have this information, then we are easily able to render something or rasterize something in your display. Okay, so that is the very first thing. And if we say that sir, I want to display something in 3D orientation, so that is not possible in graphic function, but you can definitely do it in the OpenGL library. But for that you have this three information, that is X, Y, and Z. That is the uh, the the thing that will be that the user will be able to see. okay, that the user will be able to perceive at a particular position. So if you have this information, then you can easily illuminate a particular thing or render a particular thing. Okay, so now if we have this information with us, we'll be able to um, render something, you know, on our computer display. Okay, so now the real world objects, the real world thing is fine. You can easily say that okay, there is one circle situated at this position, but what if we want to like take if you want to take it into our monitor, then for the monitor we need some information beforehand, then we can proceed further with our graphical thing. So if the same thing, that is one cylinder is there and one square is there, same thing is to be displayed in the 2D coordinates, then we need this information. Okay, plotter is there, other output devices are there. So basically this plotter and all are something like they have developed in the earlier days to make it easy for the user to get the coordinate of that particular position on the screen or in the real world, but we won't be using this thing because this is the outdated things. Okay, so many things are there like that can like give you the particular perspective of like output or doing something or making something visible to the user. So if the display thing is clear to you, then we can proceed further with the next thing, that is the software standards that we have to learn in our thing, in our CG subject. And then we have this input devices and output devices, the very basic thing. We won't be taking more than 5 to 10 minutes learn this thing in the next lecture, and that will end the very first chapter of computer graphics. Okay, and then we'll start with the graphic primitives part of in the CG subject. Yeah, till now, if you have any problem, if you have any doubt, you can always ask me. You can drop a mail, you can ask me like by same way in the lecture also. And yeah, you have to kept like you have to be present in the lecture because of the attendance thing, and don't like go out of the lecture and then come in, because these activities will be recorded on my side based on the. Yeah, if you have any problem, then you can ask me, or you can drop a message in the comment box or in the chat box. You have any problem? Got this concept? कोई problem है अभी आपको? Okay, I have your attendance. Sir, practical के लिए कौन सा software? So that's what we'll see in the today's lab. Okay, not a problem. I will show you each and everything. I will show you the installation part also. We have so much time with us, so we will do it in the lab. Else, if you have any problem, then you can ask me right now regarding the lecture. Okay, see, one more thing I want to make it clear that I'm not going to ask you the school like thing that, okay, what is CRT monitor, draw the CRT monitor and give the explanation of each and every unit that you have in the CRT unit or in the random masking technique or something. Basically, don't expect such kind of questions in CG. We need Linux system. Yeah, you have to be ready with your Linux system for the lab system. Okay, yeah, it is fine if you have Windows system and if you have Turbo C with you. Okay, well, you can do it in PC also. But that is the blue screen thing that is very boring, so I don't recommend it. Yeah, it will work. C plus Turbo CTC, yeah, it will work. It will do, not a problem. Okay, so yeah, just be ready with your Linux systems. Okay, that's all for today's lecture. And sir, I have problems. Will you please help me installing Linux? Okay, so if you have this Windows software in your machine, then Linux can easily be installed with some tool that I am also using that tool. I will say I'll just give you that name of that tool, and then you can install it. Else अभी देखो installation के लिए तो है ना हम लोग ज़्यादा time नहीं निकालेंगे. We won't spare much time for the installation purpose. But what we will do is we'll start with the Linux like installation part of the graphic function and all. Okay, we'll देख लेंगे फिर ऐसा होगा तो free hours में if it is possible for us to do this thing. Else that's it for today's lecture, and we'll just finish our lecture at this stage. Okay. कोई डाउट हो कुछ भी हो, you can mail me at any time, not a problem. Okay, good, bye.